Down here in the bottom left corner, give it up for our blue Terran player from Shopify Rebellion. He is BYUN. And his opponent, hanging out in the top, representing Alpha X. He is our red Protoss player, Classic. And now, Classic has been playing since he's got back. Obviously, you know, this isn't his first kind of rodeo in these kind of show match situations, you know. So I think one of the biggest things that he has to do is he has to kind of suss out BYUN's game plan. As BYUN is one of those aggressive Terran players. He's very in your face, and it's really difficult to kind of keep yourself ahead or even equal once you kind of get into that mid-game situation where BYUN is producing off 5 racks, 3 bases, because that forward momentum is just so powerful. So Classic has to be ready for that. He has to be very quick with his transitions, and I think overall he's gonna have to be I'm forgetting English here, apologize. The reactionary player. He's really going to have to play around BYUN in this series. That's just kind of my prediction for how it's going to go. As we do see BYUN going to get a good little scout off with this first Reaper. He's going to send that across, maybe even get a probe or two if Classic is not paying attention. But it will be Stargate to start things off. Obviously, 2,000 atmospheres. Quite a bit of room to kind of play around with the Stargate. So we'll have to see what he decides to do with that. BYUN not getting the final shot on that probe. Just really being very cautious with the Reaper. Now, so far, he also has not seen too much, as he has not been into the back corner of Classic's base. He's getting very close to killing these probes, but he gets the kiss of death, and Classic remains unscouted. So the Reaper not really getting too much done here. He won't know that that Oracle is coming across, but already we've got him pulling out the old tricks here with the old-fashioned 2-1-1. Now, funnily enough, this is a TVZ build that BYUN kind of refined after taking it from Innovation. But the fun thing is he really did kind of revolutionize it for TVP as well. Basically, the way he kind of modified it is he would get his gas just a little bit later so that he can get the racks out just a bit quicker, so it hits ever so slightly faster, meaning that he can kind of get there before the majority of the Protoss units are in shape here. But the Adepts making their way in, they are going to start to break through those marine lines here, and BYUN is just going to sacrifice the low ground for a time being. He does not want to overextend and lose too many marines. That would be absolutely terrible for his game plan. Stim just about to complete here, so we'll have to see how many marines do manage to live. The Adepts starting to go down, however. These marines are very low health, and the second Oracle kind of just not necessarily the nail in the coffin, but it is definitely a hammer destroying BYUN right now. So yeah, BYUN completely caught off guard here, is starting to take massive amounts of damage. Kind of taking a look at the units lost tab here. 9 Marines have gone down. So any sort of attack BYUN was going to go for is pretty much dead in the water. So overall, just a really good start from Classic. And we do see Classic, I was giving you a compliment, man. Oh my goodness, a little bit of a miss rally there, and he will lose that Oracle. But now we see that big transition from a Classic. He's got his Twilight Council for Blink. He's got a couple of Immortals to kind of soak up a lot of that damage. And we should see him drop the Robo Bay relatively soon, so that he can kind of get out those Colossus and kind of get that splash damage in. But here we go. The Marines have landed the stim. Forward is good. The Stalkers kind of just retreating back to the mineral line. There is no shield battery, but it looks like there is like barely enough here to force the pickup. One medevac will go down, but the full one is still alive. 6 probes have gone down. A little bit of lag. Apologize for that. Oh no. So medevac gonna try and escape, and he will be able to get away. Blink is not done just yet. Uh-oh. Okay, I'll try and fix the issue with the stream right after this game. But anyway, BYUN will be able to keep these units alive, and that is absolutely crucial for his next push. And this is the power of BYUN. As soon as this attack stops doing damage, he starts up the next one. He's got it ready to go in the backfield. And honestly, I don't know if Classic really has enough to deal with this. He only has 1 Immortal. He's going to have to rely quite heavily on the force fields if he is to survive. In terms of upgrades, he will have +1 just a little bit quicker here, but unfortunately, he's not able to get the force fields down in time. Classic just going to blink on forward. He will sacrifice an Immortal to do so. And although he will get the medevacs, there is still so many Marines left here. The shield battery overcharge a little bit premature, so he won't have that available to him. BYUN just going to take what he has left, go straight for the probe line. And 10 probes will go down. So BYUN's starting to catch back up here. Only about a 2,000 or 200 mineral difference, so getting some really good value with these units. But now he's got to be ready for the counterattack. He has only 1 siege tank. He's gone straight into Widow Mine production to prepare for the next phase. And while he does have his 3rd base, it's not on location. It is not mining right now, so it is essentially dead weight until he can establish that position. So Classic gonna get ready for a little bit of a drop here. That Prism just needs to be a threat to BYUN to keep his units at home while he kind of builds up to that next stage. Charge lots, Colossus. He's gonna go into Archons, more than likely gonna get Storm as well. So he's really just gonna be able to build that very, very nice Protoss Death Ball. And we do see he's gonna move out. He will catch the army of BYUN. He's gotta retreat though. You can't afford to overextend. War Prism looking a little bit low. Nice pickup there on the Zealots, however. Gonna keep this attack alive. And now he will lift up the 1 guy left behind. Will get Citizen arrested. Now that gives BYUN the ability to kind of turn his attention back to his attack in the front. Keep in mind, during all of this, he does not have an army available to him, so he's going to be stuck on 1-1 upgrades, as Classic already has +2 attack. So quite the little discrepancy right there. Now BYUN still dealing with a couple of Zealots. Classic doing a really good job of just being annoying as possible. And yeah, BYUN has lost all forward momentum with this. You can kind of see he took... This fight is definitely not going to go in his favor. The Widowmines, though, going to get rid of the Zealots in the front. There's just not enough bio to continue this attack, however. BYUN starting to fall apart just a little bit here as the reinforcements forced to stay at home. Classic is on the warpath. Looks like he did lose the prism, so warping in back at home and walking it across the map. He will have... I thought he warped in. Yeah, he did warp in a couple of these. They don't have Storm just yet, so he's not going to morph them into Archons. And now Classic just going to retreat. He's done the damage that he needs to do. He's pretty much gotten rid of that third base for the time being, as BYUN is going to try and reestablish that on the other side. A little bit of a drop. Doesn't really get a lot done. Gets one building. But here we go. A big fight here. Good concave from BYUN. Going to mitigate a lot of that splash damage from Classic. Supplies are actually relatively equal here. 60 workers apiece. And within 10 of the army supply. Gets another 5 workers as well. So if BYUN can kind of just pick away at him like that and not trade out his army too inefficiently, it could be a death by 1,000 cuts situation where he just kind of whittles down Classic slowly but surely. Oof, this is a little bit rough. Losing the Menavax as well. That's a very expensive gas loss there. At this point in the game, you don't really have a lot of spare gas available to you as the Terran player, as you need to start getting out Vikings. You need to start pumping out Ghosts for their EMP. So having to remake anything that requires gas is really a hard sell for him here. But Classic, he's got some storms available. Big EMP over this army. The storms dropping all over, and BYUN's supply is starting to plummet. GG is called, and Classic will take first blood in the series 1-0. All right. I think this is kind of the map that is really hard to kind of suss out, as you don't really see it too much. We obviously just got through a majority of DreamHack, and I think we only saw it like 2 to 3 times, like only in a best of 7 series, as literally the last choice of maps available, just because it is such a short map. It is such an aggressive map, and it can be really difficult to kind of defend those early game aggressions out of your opponent. Kind of like what we're seeing here out of Classic. Looks like he's going to be dropping down more than likely a starport at that location, just waiting for the cybernetics core to complete. Now, BYUN does get a scout around here. He sees the fact that the Zealot is going to be popping on out, so that instantly raises alarm bells. And he's just going to build that command center in the high ground to stay completely safe. As well, just getting full confirmation that, hey, there is no natural, and it doesn't look like he's going to be taking it anytime soon. So again, BYUN's got to realize, okay, I just need to play it safe. Classic is going to attack me. He is going to do potentially Void Rays here. So, yeah, we should be seeing a Cyclone come out from BYUN. Just going to block this base with the Engineering Bay. That's going to be really annoying for Classic to deal with. But, you know what? He says he doesn't care. Grabbing the third. It's actually going to be Phoenix. Very interesting. Hello, blue hair crit. Good to see you. Good to see you. So yeah, BYUN is just playing it as safe as possible. He has not even bothered to try and take the low ground yet because he is afraid of what Classic is up to. Now, the Classic does have to be a little bit careful himself because not only is all of his tech right here, but that base is very exposed to a counterattack. Once BYUN kind of just powers up to go here, but this is a really good one. Phoenix Adept all the way back from beta. First Cyclone gonna go a little bit too far forward. This is the first time he's seen the Phoenix though, and that is gonna be, you know, BYUN's gotta be scratching himself wondering why is this build making a comeback as the Adepts just get blanketed with Hellfire. Now the Phoenix just going to try and pick off some of these reinforcements and get on out of there. Now that BYUN kind of knows the game plan, I think he's got to be feeling pretty good about his build order choices. Yeah, you can kind of see BYUN being a little bit more bold with his units now, knowing that it is just pure Phoenix. Classic having to be a little bit careful. He has lost a couple of units in this series already to inattention, so you can see he's a lot more cautious with these Phoenix. Now kind of just having to build up. He's going to need a couple of force fields to defend this base. Did he... Okay, so he still has not seen the third base at all. So what he thinks right now is, okay, he delayed his natural nexus. He's not really too good economically. So, but that's more than likely what he's thinking here. A couple of Phoenix might go down. Some good pickups there from BYUN. Classic. Still pumping him out. That is pretty much the majority of his production. I'm really worried about that because even though he's going up to charge on Archon, BYUN has powered up. He's getting his third racks out right now. He's got a very healthy economy, although he did get a little bit supply block there. And yeah, I don't know if the Zealot count is going to be able to rise fast enough to kind of counter this. Remember, Phoenix are a pretty expensive build up here. Still trying to find a little bit of utility, however. Will go get the 1 or 2 kills right there, and just back on out. Now it's BYUN's turn. He has the army supply lead, and he is looking for that blood. As again, a lot of Classic's production is really, really vulnerable there on the third base here. These Phoenix gonna have to fly around looking for the reinforcements to just slow down this push as much as humanly possible. No SCVs, so there's not going to be any bunkers, any missile turrets. But stim is complete, so the Zealots gonna charge right on top. Focus fire on the Phoenix is good. BYUN is on the retreat through the acceleration zone, but he will be able to clean up a majority of these Zealots. In fact, all of them will go down. And now with the reinforcements, Classic has to retreat. Not for too long here. BYUN not going to overextend. He's not going to throw these units away. I really respect that, especially since he doesn't really have a lot of healing available to him right now. And this move out from Classic, a little bit risky, especially near that choke point at the third. And they get a little bit of a spike. But, you know what? Now we see Classic. He's going to go into the standard charge lot Archon kind of follow-up that's most common behind this. BYUN's got his production up. He's going up to 5 racks, so he should be able to keep up pretty darn well. And yeah, he's had the army supply lead for quite a bit of time. First couple of Archons are going to warp in, but there's no force fields available right now. He's got to get those ready. The Widow Mines just absolutely crushing through the health of those Zealots. And even though they will be able to push this back momentarily, that is nowhere going to be enough. GG is called, and BYUN evens up the match score. 1-1. So now already BYUN going to be just a little bit of a nuisance here, as he will be dropping that engineering bay, just trying to slow down Classic and kind of force him to maybe build his base in a more vulnerable position. So that's always a good thing in this matchup, especially as the Terran player. You want to be pretty annoying to your Protoss opponent to prevent them from kind of building up that late game army, which can be quite difficult to stop. Now, behind this, looks like he will be skipping the Reaper. I think that's a pretty good choice. There's not really a lot of room for a Reaper to maneuver. And yeah, I'm going to be interested to see where he goes with this. He cancels the engineering bay. Honestly, I'd say keep that up, because that's going to keep the Adept at home. And yeah, just do whatever you can to kind of slow things down where you can. But there you go. It is going to be a 2-1-1 once again. As he pulls off of gas, he needs as many minerals as possible. Even going to add on the third racks and make it a 3-1-1. So Classic might have to be pretty darn careful here, as he's going for Stargate once again. Ooh. If he goes for Phoenix, I don't want to say it's insta-GG, but it's going to be pretty darn difficult to defend the amount of Marines that are going to be coming across the map. Now the Adept going to try and make its way in. It's not close enough to see this. And there you have it. It's going to be Phoenix. So right now, the most important thing for Classic is not only to kind of get the scout out as to what's going on, but he's got to build up that Phoenix count. He has to keep BYUN at home for as long as humanly possible. This is kind of the first indicator as to what's going on here. So from here, the timer starts. Shield battery already going down in the third base for that defense. A couple of Adepts being warped in. They're going to be crucial to the defense. And overall, just, again, slow down, hinder. That's all you can really do with this composition. Oh no. Classic just barely missing the move out. Seeing kind of the tail end of it. He does have his robo facility already there to try and transition into Colossi right after this. Phoenix gonna try and slow this down, but they cannot fight that straight up. And yeah, BYUN kind of giving a little bit of time, waiting for the pickoff there. Gets one of the Phoenix. A very nice start to this engagement. Stim is just now complete. That's what he was waiting for. Can't fight in terms of that shield battery. If he wanted to, he can just head directly for the main base, but getting some really nice pickoffs here to start things off. That shield battery overcharge is about to finish out. And he will just get a couple of additional kills there. So while Classic does hold on, it was a very kind of Pyrrhic victory for him, losing those units. Especially since the second wave is already on the way. 9 best of 5. Yeah, it's first to 5 wins the series, King Devan. So now Classic has a bit of a better army here. He's going to start that Colossi production. And he will have a +1 attack available to him here. BYUN doesn't really have any support for these units. So every single stim is a very bad idea. You can kind of see that BYUN instantly recognizing the fact that he's not going to be able to push the issue here. As these Phoenix still kind of flying around, delaying the third base for just a second here. Unfortunately, they are going to pay for that with one of their lives. Very nice pickoffs here from BYUN, keeping that Phoenix count low. Going to be pretty important since now he's going to head to the drop phase. So throughout all of this, kind of take a look at the income advantage here. These guys are actually dead even on workers, so that's never really a good thing for the Protoss player. You always want to be ahead because those mules just add a lot of utility, a lot of power to the Terran economy. So Classic is going to have to rectify that here. Scan does go down, trying to find this army, sees what's up. Unfortunate for him, Classic does suss this out. He will find... Oh my god. I was going to say he would find it, but unfortunately losing another Phoenix there. Classic just playing it very fast and very loose with these Phoenix. And, yeah. I think my biggest concern for Classic right now is the fact that he still has to remake these Phoenix. Again, they are a bit expensive for part of the game. They are kind of difficult to make efficiently work as the game goes on. So just having to remake them at this point, that's a lot of money that can go into Colossi, a lot of money that can go into these upgrades. And yeah, it's just a lot of money lost here. Oh, he finds the observer but doesn't get the snipe. That is actually huge for Classic, keeping that alive, because that will burn another scan to get it. That's 250 minerals times 2. As he won't be able to drop the mules here, but BYUN still getting closer and closer to maxing out. He has quite a bit of support with these siege tanks, with these Vikings. So let's see what he can do. He's gonna find the army. The Phoenix trying to fight on their own. The Zealots, oh, they know better. They know they can't fight that straight up. So Classic gonna be fully on the retreat. The Vikings crushing through these Colossi health, but unfortunately, the shield battery does force BYUN back for just a second, but he is not going home anytime soon. This is an overwhelming Terran death ball, and it has the high ground. And as you can see, he wants to keep this rolling. The Zealots getting right on top of this, but they will start to go down. A couple of Archons soaking up some damage in the front, but there's just not enough Protoss here. Classic has to warp in a bunch of Zealots to try and hold on. The Colossi barely clinging to dear life. It will go down, and that is going to have BYUN reclaim the lead 2-1. So nothing crazy so far. We see Classic going to be sending the probe across to just be a little bit of a nuisance. Not really going to be hiding any sort of proxy out on the map, I'd imagine. As we do have that Nexus going to be going down before BYUN's SCV can get there. That SCV getting relatively low. So I think what it's going to come down to is Classic going to stick with the Stargate strategy he has in the past 3 games of the series. And yeah, he's going to get that cybernetics core up, and that is pretty much going to be the catalyst here to drop that. He does go for Stalker, however, so that kind of tells me that maybe we're going to be seeing Twilight Council in this game. Basically, a Stalker costs just a little bit more gas than an Adept, so if you do see the Stalker, it usually means you're going to be seeing the Twilight Council, because Stargate, very gas expensive building. So you yeah, kind of just that. Making the Adept saves a little bit of gas. So I apologize, guys. It's like 4 in the morning and I have not slept in 48 hours again. They always ask me to cast on negative 48 hours of sleep, but anyway, the first Stalker is going to make its way in. Tries to get a little bit of damage in. We'll get a couple of pickoffs here and there. BYUN not really pulling back his Marines. They're actually going very far to look for the kill here. A little bit worried about that. He's taking a little bit of additional damage. Double Stalker is going to be coming in the bunker. Is not going to be able to finish. He is taking a lot of damage on that first Stalker. You do need to keep these alive. But honestly, that Marine count is nothing to be afraid of here. Oh my gosh, it's 3 racks once again. And that is pretty much the worst thing to go versus this build. Looks like Classic is going to back off for right now. He will have Blink available to him. Only up to 3 gates. So basically with that, if you do see a 4 gate, it's pretty much signaling that there's going to be a lot of aggression out. But with only 3 gates out, you know, he's gonna poke, he's gonna prod a little bit with these first couple of Stalkers. I think he would love to see the fact that it is indeed 3 racks, because that tells him he has a little bit more room to maneuver. But it's more so that he can keep these Stalkers out on the map. He can get some pickoffs as BYUN moves out. he doesn't really have to get a whole lot done here. He just needs to delay BYUN while he gets those immortals, while he drops his Bay, gets up to Colossi once again, and just kind of powers up for the defense. Now, BYUN is successfully, quote-unquote, contained. It's more like a self-quarantine right now, as he could definitely move out against this, but he's trying to hide the amount of units that he has until he's ready to go. Here we go, finally revealing them. The Observer going to allow the jump into the main base, but that is going to be a very risky proposition here, as BYUN has its units positioned perfectly to defend against that. Yeah, even going to get sniped the Observer, so just taking no chances is BYUN right now. But back at Classic Space, we do have Storm. We do have that huge gateway explosion. 4 more have been built. Charge is about to complete, so Charge Lot Archon is next on the block with Storm available to him. BYUN's going to have a little bit of trouble attacking in one location, so that's why he's going to try and hit on multiple fronts as this drop goes into the main base completely unscouted. I don't think he's warping anything in here to defend that. He's going to get the recall on some of these units, and that's going to prompt him to get ready to attack the third. And look at that, BYUN just going to fight this. A beautiful choke point. The Stalker's not even helping as he's focused over here. One medevac will go down, but already 13 probes have fallen. And more army is going down. Oh my goodness, this is a beautiful drop from BYUN. And look at that, he is not done anytime soon. If he sees a low health unit, he's gonna go for it. Ooh. Losing the medevac, but he will be able to keep some of these units alive. Taking a look at the units lost tab here. Relatively equal, with BYUN just getting a slight advantage in terms of what he's killing, so he's being a little bit more cost efficient. And now he knows it's Storm. He knows there are High Templar out on the map, so he just... So even though he's a little bit behind in terms of that, he does drop that EMP. One big thing to note, however, and it's kind of the same as the other couple of games. There's no armory. Like, absolutely none of them. So what that means for BYUN is that he's putting a little bit of a timer on himself in regards to these upgrades, as he will be staying on 1-1 for the duration of this game. So he really has to hit before Classic starts to take too big of an upgrade advantage. But here we go. One Storm going to blanket as much as humanly possible. Tries to get rid of the Widow Mines, but one will get a decent shot off. Gets rid of a lot of shields there. Now, I think BYUN might be misreading things just a little bit, as he's going to be going into Vikings. There's not actually anything for the Vikings to shoot. Okay, he cancels them. Good, good. But you know what? He's got a quite a road ahead of him here. He's got to defend against Classic, who is moving out across the map. Big AMP gonna hit all of these High Templars, so Storm is knocked out of the equation. Small drop gonna make its way back in, as a Classic is getting blanketed by the EMPs. He is still gonna do what he can to make this attack work. A choke point for BYUN to mitigate some of that damage, but he is still forced back to his third base. The SCVs are pulled to try and hold on. Unfortunately, Classic just does not have enough here. And with these units going down, yeah, he did lose the War Prism as well. So there's no reinforcements with this. Take a look at that army size graph. Just an absolute plummet. Nice little extra bit of damage here on that Widowmine as well. So BYUN on the warpath, up double the army supply. He doesn't even care that this OBS is on top of him. The Stalker's getting a little bit too far forward, and I think BYUN is just gonna stim it to win it here. As, yeah, again, Classic just doesn't really have enough to defend. The EMP is going to blanket this army. The Storms might help out a lot, but the Marauders can just kind of soak up all that damage. Yeah, Classic's really not mining here at all. Oh my goodness. That was a bit of a mistake. I don't think he should have lifted up there at all. Especially not with the medevacs as weak as they were. That actually just ends the engagement, but I don't think it matters too much. Actually, hold that thought. BYUN is plummeted in supply as well. But yeah, the big problem here is kind of that follow-up push is never too far behind. He has, while he isn't attacking yet, he is ready to attack at any time. I guess a War Prism just got in here. 8 kills, with 6 of those being probes. Classic is just falling further and further behind in terms of that economy, and yeah, this little bit much. Storm gonna blanket the Widow Mines and will take them down, but they have already gotten their shots off. The rest of the Storms not gonna go down, and that is gonna be it. Spawning down here in the bottom left position. He's repping the blue corner now. He is Classic. And his opponent up here in the top right in the red trunks, this is BYUN. So now, as we get on to this late in the series, you gotta start making those tough choices as Classic. You know, you've got to win the next. I'm trying to do math in my head. Never do math on stream. It is impossible. He's got to win 4 games here, while BYUN only needs to win 2. So, do you go for some of these more risky cheeses? Do you Void Ray rush him and potentially throw a game away if he defends? Or do you just try and go for what he's been going for? Playing it straight up, trying to get to that late game, and trying to overwhelm his opponent with that Protoss Death Ball. One thing I can say, just a little bit different, as on map number 1, he was very good about getting that kind of, what do you call it? Harassment in there, the Zealots with the War Prism, which really kind of forced BYUN in a bad situation, and I think he's got to do that again, but already we see his choice. This is gonna be, Robo facility here. He's got the Stalkers coming on in. So I think this is for Immortals. So now BYUN really needs to sniff this out. He has no idea as to what's coming his way. He's going for 3 racks once again. Actually, hold that thought, as we don't see any third racks, and instead he's got a fast +1. Oh my gosh, BYUN, what are you doing, my man? I don't know why my voice cracked there. I'm too old for that. But yeah, this is a very interesting strategy here. I think what he's doing is okay, it is a 3 racks, but he delays the third barracks to go up to that +1 attack. This is something that could hit really, really hard, as those immortals might just not be able to withstand the withering fire. Now, taking a look around, we still don't see a third base out of Classic, and I doubt we are going to be seeing one. As that second immortal pops, the additional gateways have been dropped. A couple of sentries being warped in to help out with this attack. And if you know what, if it doesn't work, I think Classic is just dead, so he's going to have to win this right here, right now with this build. I'm not hopeful. Hey, a pretty good start. He catches a good majority of these Marines out. That is a really nice way to start things out. Stim still 20 seconds away from finishing, so Classic gonna take advantage of that situation. BYUN just waiting for it here, as he has a 10 supply difference. But now the SCV's having to be pulled. The force fields are good to get the Marines off. The Prism Juggle is awesome right now, but he's just going to focus fire that down. BYUN will be able to get it. And with the Marauders to help things out, that last Immortal, not too long for this world. Never mind, the Stalkers are back for reinforcements. And 18 workers have gone down. BYUN is in a really bad spot right now. Honestly, the funny thing is, you know, Classic doesn't actually have to do any more damage. He could go home if he wanted to, but he is all in. He is ready to close this one out. Another big warping coming on in. Now there's a siege tank in the backfield. Gotta keep that alive. You need that splash. He does activate the shield from the Immortal, which is pretty darn good. Now keep in mind, there is still no healing with this. During all that chaos, all that confusion, BYUN never started his starport. So any stim is going to be permanent. And here we go. One Immortal brought forward to soak up some of that siege tank fire. BYUN doing a good job of focus firing down these Immortals, but he does lose the siege tank in the back. And the juggle is fantastic for Classic. He's going to keep a lot of these units alive. The Zealots soaking up a lot of that damage as well. You know what? If BYUN had the starport right now, if he had the heals, the medevacs, I would say that he might be able to recover from this slightly. But now Classic's going up to a third base. He's getting Colossi out. This is really downhill for BYUN. It's going to be really difficult to recover. Yeah, just juggling the Immortals around as well as he gets his next army ready to go. Gotta say, like, I like BYUN's fighting spirit. It's one of the things you gotta admire about the guy. He never leaves until it is absolutely GG. But I think his heart is gonna sink a little bit seeing that Colossus out. Now, granted, keep in mind, he does have +1 attack, so that is going to make sure his units hit a little bit harder as the Immortals getting shooed away. If he can kind of prevent Classic from attacking, he might be able to build up a good wall of defense. I'm trying to think of ways he can kind of come back, but as time goes on, it just gets worse and worse for him. Extended Thorough Lance has completed, as well as the Zealot's going to be warping into the main base. But hey, he's actually going to see that Classic has backed off. So Classic not going to overextend, not going to hurt his chances. Obviously, again, BYUN is one of those players. He's never really dead until he taps out. It's a long march home, buddy. Should have taken the bus. I think BYUN has kind of recognized the situation here, as we do see he's moving out either to establish a third base or just getting ready for one balls to the wall attack. Looks like a Classic with a 40 supply lead right now. A little bit deceiving as it's only a couple units in the back. The acceleration zone speeding up that disruptor, and that is going to be an instant GG. So we'll have to keep an eye out for Classic. He's already shown that he is willing to go down and dirty to get those wins, and it was kind of what I was talking about in the last one. You got to start making some really crazy moves like that in order to win this series. Already though, looks like BYUN is going to be going for a much of the same. He's getting that early reactor down, so we should be seeing the second racks probably in a couple of seconds here, as soon as he has the money for it. Yeah, there you go. And on top of that, he's pulled out of gas, so he's going to be getting that third racks as well. So I think the biggest kind of change that we need to see from the last game is get that starport down a little bit earlier, so that you don't lose the units as easily. I feel like that defense would have been a lot better, would have been a lot cleaner if he just had some sort of support. But taking a look at it, we do have the Robo facility once again, and he is pumping out sentries. Now, I don't know about you, but when I see sentries on the early game production tab, I think that Classic is getting ready for a big attack. We'll have to verify that. Look at that. It's going to be a fast Robo Bay behind it. So, yeah, either he's going to be heading straight up to Colossus, or he's going to do some little Warp Prism shenanigans. Excellent. An excellent little move, as BYUN won't be really able to keep up, especially if he does get the upgrade for the Prism speed. So indeed, getting the scat out, seeing that it is once again gonna be this 3 racks. Just gonna cancel that Immortal that he was building. he should be feeling pretty safe as well. Just the fact that he has the sentries for the force fields, they should have at least one by the time BYUN moves out across the map. And yeah, I doubt he'll really take a lot of damage for this. He's in a good position right now to kind of deflect this. And I think the biggest problem for BYUN is once he sees those Colossus, oh, his heart's going to sink a little bit here because, again, you can't beat fast Colossus with 3 racks. Now, call me crazy as well, but I don't think Classic really wants to take a third at any point. Actually, it looks like he might want to take a third, but he doesn't really want to use it too much, as we did see a ton of gateways being dropped. A very good start here for Classic as he gets that force field off and just crushes the Marines of BYUN. Awesome series so far. Oh yeah, this is an epic series. And it's going to get even epicer as Classic just going to hunt down the stragglers. He's got all those additional gateways. He's got the stalkers warping on in. The Prism has joined in. So while BYUN will have medevac support this time, will he have an army to stop this? Take a look at the units lost. He's already lost 11 of those Marines for the cost of a stalker. He's got a good concave at the top of the ramp, so Classic has to be a little bit careful with how he engages into this, but he's just going to dive straight for it. Those Colossus in the backfield just absolutely wailing away on this army. The bunker is dead. The supplies still relatively equal, but this warp-in will change all that. The SCVs being retreated to the high ground. And this is where BYUN makes his last stand. The SCVs starting to go down like hotcakes. And there you have it. Classic ties the series up. As we move on to our last map before the map pool resets. Now already you can see that Classic is a bit cautious on this map. While this is kind of considered one of the most standard macro maps in the pool, there are so many different proxy spots. This one's pretty good. You can always just float it right there out of range of your opponent. You've got the rocks back here to hide some racks. There's just so many ways you could go about it. So just kind of getting the scout off of the normal locations before moving across the map. Now, nothing else too crazy is happening other than that scout. Both sides kind of just powering up. He did go for cybernetics core first, just so that he can stay a little bit safer, get the adept out just a hint quicker. And this time, BYUN kind of realizing the folly of his ways, just going back into a more normal build here, straight into the factory. Now, there's a couple of different ways that this could go. He could always go for Widowmine drops right away, or one thing I've liked seeing out of him is his kind of Hellion drop style, where he'll just drop some Hellions in the little blind spot right here, and get some nice juicy probe kills and kind of just try and take forward momentum that way. And yeah, he is going to get one Hellion to start things off. Adept Gonna be coming in, getting a little bit of information, but not really too much. It is, again, Stargate for Classic, so that does mean that it's gonna be Phoenix here. The lone Phoenix gonna try and graviton on his own. Nice little surround move here, as well as pulling the probes away so the Hellion doesn't really get anything done. A nice little start here, although BYUN now recognizes that it's Phoenix. Just goes straight into the Cyclone, straight into the Viking. He wants to be absolutely safe versus what is next. Third base going down for Classic much quicker than in the previous games, and he is ready for the transition again, much quicker than the previous games. So as BYUN moves out with a small force, he's got to be careful as he doesn't have stim. He doesn't even have +1 attack, so he's got to be very careful with how he engages. SCV's gonna start to drop like hotcakes here. The only thing stopping them from getting more is probably the fact that they don't have energy. Viking going to land in the main base. We'll have to keep an eye on that probe count, but should be able to force a cancel here. Looks like Classic just kind of waiting for a second, waiting for the Phoenix to come home before deciding to attack into that. Focus fires down on that one Cyclone, so that will go down. And the Viking gets about 5 kills. That's not too bad. You know, the Viking doesn't really have a lot of utility versus the Phoenix, so just getting as much damage as humanly possible. Although, speaking of damage, it looks like Classic is being much more cost efficient with his units right now. Charge is on the way. He's got +1 attack roughly the same time as BYUN. And again, stim is not complete, so Classic can really kind of just camp this location for a bit until that completes. Stim is done. Combat Shield's about to finish up. We do see that big gateway explosion. That is so critical for the Protoss player. 5 additional gateways. He's going up to the Robo facility as well so that he can get the Warp Prism. And honestly, from here, I think usually the follow-up is Colossi when we're talking about Phoenix play. I honestly would like to see him go straight for Storm. You know, get the Templar archives up and just try and crush through BYUN that way. But I digress on that point because he does know best. Phoenix are in position to stop this drop. Now forcing a pretty big warp in here though. That is nowhere near for this world, so that is a lot of supply for BYUN. That does not get anything done. The attack on this side, though, does have the army out of position. Look good, Wood of Mine shot's gonna clear up what it can, but unfortunately, there's just not enough anti-air. So the Phoenix will reign supreme in the sky. And now BYUN being forced further and further back. He's just gonna get chased down like a dog. Classic will let him retreat. Classic getting ready for the move out, just waiting for that prism. Okay, just again, kind of just leaving his units where they don't necessarily belong. I think he might be trying to sacrifice them just to get rid of these Widow Mines. I'm not 100% certain, but here we go. Archons are warping in. The Zealots do have charge, so they're just gonna get right on top of this army. What does BYUN have? The answer is not a lot, as he is pushed back all the way to the ramp. The SCVs are pulled. Tries to get back to the relative safety of that ramp with them, but they will all go down. Force field gonna block one Marine. And yeah, I think this might just be it for BYUN, as he is down below 100 supply, down to 78. There's just not really a whole lot he can do, even losing 41 probes. Just trying to chase down what he can. These guys are very brave, but brave and stupid are just one Protoss turnaround away from each other. BYUN kind of recognizes that, hey, I need to do damage and I need to do it now. So he's just going to send what's left of his army across the map and look to get a kill. Actually, hold that thought as he's going home. I don't like that move. You go home, you don't have an economy, you're pretty much on fumes at this point, so you're going to give a lot of time for Classic to rebuild a lot of what he lost. Can I take a look at the units lost tab here? He's actually not doing bad at all, only losing a ton of Zealots, which, I mean, they're gas units, or they're mineral units, they're not expensive. So now double Colossi at a time. I think this push is pretty much dead in the water, as we should be seeing, unless these are absolutely monstrous EMPs. He does get them off on the Archon at the very least. The Zealots in the front start to go down, but at the end of the day, it's just too much firepower. In the bottom left corner, he is on his last leg. He needs your energy. Go ahead and spam it. Spawning down here, he is Shopify Rebellion's BYUN. And his opponent, he is up here in the top, one map away from victory. Give it up for Alpha X's Classic. And it looks like Classic just wants the quick, easy victory here. More than likely, that's going to be a Stargate. And honestly, this should ring alarm bells in BYUN's mind once he gets into that main base. Basically, you do want to count the number of pylons. And as BYUN sees, there is only one in the main base. So that instantly tells him everything he needs to know. Just gonna play it safe, gets the command center on the high ground, and now he really should scout for this. But so far, not going to do so. The Stargate has been popped. Marine, not really going too far out right now. Oh, I am so worried here, but luckily for him, he is going up to factory. He will have cyclones available to him. He should go up to Starport as well. So if this is Void Rays, he does have a solid base to defend. But still, this is something you never want to contend with. He's going for Widow Mine drops. Classic. Oh my goodness. So we see a bit of an older build here. We got the Tempest Rush as that fleet beacon starts to come on in. BYUN still without recognizing it. He knows something's up, but he doesn't know what. He's keeping the Widow Mines hidden in very nice little locations. Actually, where is it? Oh, that's a beautiful spot right there, but he's gonna have to bring that to the front. I think the most important thing for BYUN is that the fact that he hasn't been hit with anything other than a couple of stalkers might give him the wrong idea as to what he has to defend against. Okay, now he sees the shield batteries, and that tells him everything that he needs to know. Dropping the tech lab so that he can start up that cyclone production. And even gonna get the Raven. I think that'll add a little bit of utility here. This Tempest, though, gonna just wail away on these Marines. Fighting within range of that shield battery. Gonna look to force a recall here. But that is gonna leave his base very, very exposed. Bunker not going to die, but he just sacrifices the low ground. He knows that Classic is all in. So all he has to do is defend one base. Don't lose too many SCVs. And you're good to go. You can lose about 10 before it becomes too much. But already doing some pretty good damage here. That shield battery going to start to run out of energy. And it does force the defensive warp-in at home, just buying him some time to get Magfield Accelerator out. Classic losing 6 workers, and every worker is going to count for him right now, as he doesn't really have a lot of economy. Oh no, Magfield Accelerators, this is pretty much the linchpin to the defense, and it is denied. So now the Cyclones aren't going to be doing that bonus damage. These Tempests wailing away in the sky. I gotta say, he's still being a little bit of a nuisance with these drops, but he's not really doing any more damage. And the Vikings, though, going to shoo this away. Back to the shield batteries, but it's these Stalkers in the front that's going to get the tap out. GG is called.